Well, we Canadians might like ice hockey, but we hate you ice motherpuckers.
You get to see the maple tree.
You done got this old Canadian pissed off again, eh? We've been hearing horrific stories about the inhumane conditions and treatment of immigrants in the ICE facilities, including miscarriages and one woman who went through a stillbirth alone in her cell while in leg shackles. We've heard of Canadians being detained for weeks and other problems encountering customs and law enforcement while traveling in the States, and lots of Canadians have cancelled or changed their travel plans for these reasons, among others, like to boycott the tariffs and the threats from the bully baby. But now, Canada's demanding answers after the mysterious death of a Canadian citizen who was held in a Florida jail for 39 days. On Monday, 49-year-old Johnny Noviello died at a Florida ICE detention center where he was found unresponsive in his cell. Medical staff attempted CPR and defibrillator, but he didn't survive. Global Affairs Canada are aware of the death and they're in touch with U.S. authorities, but won't release details or information due to privacy concerns. And Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand posted on social media that they'd been notified and are urgently seeking more information. The family's been notified, and she offered her condolences, and so do we here at Canadian Drain and Political Drain. While we have no details on the cause of death yet, a full report must be released within 90 days of any death while in custody. Noviello had been in the U.S. on a legal visa since 1988 when he was just 12 and received a legal permanent residency in 1991. He was arrested by ICE at his probation office on May 15th and given a notice to appear in court where he was charged with removability for a violation of or a conspiracy or attempt to violate any law or regulation of a state, the United States, or a foreign country relating to a controlled substance as a non-immigrant overstay. He and his dad had been arrested in 2017 for allegedly selling opioid pills out of their Daytona Beach used car dealership, as well as racketeering and using a two-way communication device to facilitate criminal activity. Well, they're saying that he paid people to fill opioid prescriptions, which he sold. But he pleaded guilty to all charges in September of 2023 after withdrawing an earlier plea of not guilty. In February this year, a judge granted his request to convert the remainder of his 2-year supervised community control sentence to probation, as per Global News Canada. His friends told the National Post that he was a devoted father and a soft-spoken neighbor, and none of them expected this sudden loss. And as a longtime resident of Daytona Beach, this was a shock to their community, especially among those who saw him as proof that immigrants could rebuild their lives after past mistakes. Sadly, Noviello is the second Canadian to die in ICE custody in recent years. In 2020, James Hill, 72, who was set to be deported from the U.S., got COVID after he was removed from isolation. He'd initially been in isolation to protect his health. His daughter, Verity Hill, said, I think they just think some people deserve to die. That's what crossed my mind. 7 others have died this year in ICE custody, compared to 11 deaths reported in 2024. This is confirmed by ICE's acting director, Todd Lyons. In May, a 68-year-old Mexican-born man was the first ICE detainee to die while being transported from a local jail to a federal detention center. I'm going to mispronounce his name, I'm sorry. Abelardo Avellaneda Delga was arrested in Statenville, Georgia on April 9th for an alleged parole violation and died a month later in the back of a van en route to the Lowndes County Jail and Stewart Detention Center. Something's really sus here. Oh boy. According to his family, he was in good health before being detained, and they were shocked when they found him confined to a wheelchair and unable to speak during a family visit. A jail staffer said, "We gave him his medication. That's probably why he's that way." But his son says his father never took any medications at home. And the Lowndes County Jail Captain Jason Clifton said his father had been held in the medical unit for not eating because he didn't like the food.
Bruh.
And he told the family, "I don't believe he was on any medications. I don't see anything in the medical chart." But when they checked, the jail nurse listed 5 medications. 2 were for high blood pressure and another was an antibiotic. The next day, after the family visit, they were transporting him and to the detention center and had to stop en route and call 911 when they found him unresponsive while transporting him with blood pressure of 226 over 57. 226 over 57, and by the time the coroner arrived on the scene, he was already dead. No shit. The county coroner, Stephen D. Hubbard, said if that was his blood pressure when he left Lowndes, he shouldn't have been going to Stewart. He should have been going to the hospital. Jesus Christ. Pavel Delgado was a hardworking man who lived most of his last 40 years in the U.S., raising a large family with 6 children, working on tobacco and vegetable farms. He just never gained legal immigration status. A Wired investigation into 911 calls from 10 of the nation's largest immigration detention centers found that serious medical incidents are rising at many of the sites. The data obtained through public records requests show that at least 60% of the centers analyzed have reported serious pregnancy complications, suicide attempts, or sexual assault allegations. Since January, these 10 facilities have collectively placed nearly 400 emergency calls. Nearly 50 of those have involved potential cardiac episodes, 26 referenced seizures, and 17 reported head injuries. 6 others involved allegations of sexual abuse, including at least 1 case logged as staff on detainee. The question remains if there will be any accountability. In the past, there hasn't been any. However, the road to accountability may come from the civil courts. The family of a man who died in ICE custody in Aurora in 2022 is suing the company that runs the detention center, and the case has not yet been heard. In June 2024, the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, Physicians for Human Rights, PHR, and American Oversight issued a new research report titled Deadly Failures, Preventable Deaths in U.S. Immigration Detention, which provides a comprehensive examination of the deaths of 52 people who died in ICE custody from 2017 to 2021. The report exposes ways in which the DHS failed to conduct rigorous investigations, impose meaningful consequences, or improve conditions that cause immigrants to die in ICE detention. The ACLU has also found that 95% of deaths in ICE detention could likely have been prevented with adequate medical care. I recommend that you read that report if you can stomach it. Well, this is coming at a time when the ICE and Border Czar Tom Horman says he's living in hiding due to threats against his safety. Holman has presided over 25,000 plus ICE arrests, 70,000 deportations, countless collateral arrests, where agents kidnap immigrants not even on their target list, and sweeping raids, and yes, the literal separation of children from their families as a deliberate deterrent. Canadians will unite with our U.S. neighbors and call for accountability and put an end to this cruel and inhuman treatment. Elbows up and let's break this ice. Stay tuned for more on Political Drain Canadian Edition.
Hey,
Yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're gonna pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads, it's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.